So welcome to another episode of the Sports Room, everybody. I'm your host, Unger to the Max. And, before I continue, a salute to you. And that's in tribute to my favorite team in all of the NHL, the Columbus Blue Jackets. But for this video, we are not talking about the Columbus Blue Jackets. We are talking about two other Ohio teams, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. That's right. It's another Cleveland Browns game preview. And this week, it is the Battle of Ohio as the Cincinnati Bengals come to Cleveland, specifically First Energy Stadium, to take on my hometown team, the Cleveland Browns. And for the first time ever on the Sports Room, we have got a Cincinnati Bengals fan on the channel. And he is also a Dallas Stars fan, as you can see. So he is in an extra good mood because his Stars beat the Vegas Golden Knights in Game 5 last night in overtime, 3-2, to advance to the Stanley Cup Final. So please welcome to the show, Mr. Jazzy TV. How are you feeling, my man?
I'm feeling great. I'm going to tell you, after last night's win, I was up here, man. I felt like a king. I was ready. Now I'm just waiting to see who our opponent's going to be and see when the Stanley Cup Final starts. And then, honestly, I'm super stoked to have football back. Football is definitely my number one sport, and I'm super excited that it's back.
All right. So tell everyone, how did you get to be both a Stars fan and a Bengals fan?
So the Stars, been a Stars fan my whole life. I'm born and raised in Texas. I live in Texas now, and I've been to many games over the years. Been to many playoff games, many games during the regular season. My uncle has season tickets, so it's been a blessing to go to many games. And you just really, when you go to games, you really just endorse and just really, connect with the team, and you just get in the atmosphere of the crowd and everything. So that's how I became a Dallas Stars fan, just being born and raised here, been supporting them all the way back since Marty Turco and all those great guys, Brendan Morrow, Mike Modano, great guys back then.
I was going to say, you better not leave out Mike Modano. He's my favorite player of all time for the Dallas Stars.
I would never leave out Mike, man. He's a stud.
And that's coming from a St. Louis Blues fan.
Yeah. And then the whole Bengals thing, I've played football my whole life since I was 5 years old. Played all the way up till I was a senior in high school. And I played a lot of receiver growing up. And I watched a lot of football on TV. My dad's a huge Cowboys fan, so obviously I watched a lot of football. And a player always intrigued me, and always caught my attention. That was Chad Johnson. I loved his enthusiasm, loved his passion for the game. And I began to just watch him and just fell in love with him. I even adopted and took his number, 85, as a kid growing up to play football. Yeah, and then I just honestly began to love the Bengals, and that's just where it's been. And, I was actually, when I was 16, my dad has a Cowboys helmet tattoo on his calf, and he asked me, if I'd get one of the Bengals to match him, and here we are today. I got a tattoo on my calf of the Bengals helmet, and pretty sure you can't unbecome a fan after that. So it's definitely going until the next generation and so on and so on.
Okay, so tell me, what is it like being a Bengals fan in Cowboys country? Because you're deep in the heart of Dallas Cowboys territory. So what's it like being a Bengals fan in Cowboys country?
It is definitely tough. I'll be honest. My whole life living here, I've never met another Bengals fan anywhere in this area. And every time I go somewhere with Bengals gear on, a lot of people they crack jokes. They'll either ask like, hey, why are you a Bengals fan? Because they're intrigued, or they'll simply say something like, man, sorry you got to wear that jersey. So, it goes both ways. Some people can be mean about it. Some people can be funny about it. But, yeah, Cowboys fans are definitely, diehard fans as well. And, I have a lot of friends that are, and they definitely don't let me live it down that we've never won a Super Bowl. So,
yeah. Wait, so you're a Bengals fan and you're a Stars fan. What about your Major League Baseball team and an NBA team. Are you a Rangers fan and Mavericks fan?
No, I'm actually a Cincinnati Reds fan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And then basketball, honestly, I'm not the biggest basketball fan, but honestly, it's weird because I kind of went through like a Dwayne Wade. I'm more of like a player that likes him. So I went through like a Dwayne Wade phase where I was all about the Heat, and I still like the Heat today. But my number one team is actually the Atlanta Hawks. I don't know how. I don't know where it came from. I think I just picked a team one day, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for the underdog. And, we got Trae Young, John Collins. We got all these guys in here. And, and that's where it's at.
You're like me. You are all over the map. I love it. I'm the exact same way.
Yeah.
I am the exact same way. I love it. But we are here to talk the Battle of Ohio, your Cincinnati Bengals against my Cleveland Browns. Thursday night football. I personally don't like Thursday night football just in general, and that includes this game. I definitely want to hear your thoughts about that, but in this case, maybe it's a good thing for the Browns to have Thursday night football so they can get back on track after that beatdown they had at the hands of the Baltimore Ravens. But what are your thoughts on this game being on Thursday night football? Do you like it? Do you not like it? How do you feel about Thursday night football?
I'm not a huge fan of Thursday night football games, just because, it's a quick turnaround for the players, and a lot of them are banged up, and they don't quite get that off day maybe on Monday that typically a lot of teams may give their players. And, I think it's a quick turnaround. It's tough. It's a lot of wear and tear on your body as a player. And, I think it's good in a sense to where you quickly forget about, your week one loss. So you quick turn around, you're on to the next. But I'm not typically a fan of the Thursday night games. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not like we're traveling far, so that's okay. But, and it's also prime time. Obviously, the Bengals have been notorious for not doing well in prime time in the last 5 years. So, it kind of puts me at a little ease. I'm excited for prime time. People are going to watch us on TV, and then I'm kind of like, man, last time we played on prime time, we lost 28-3 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So let's just see how it goes.
I also remember that the last time we played you guys on Thursday night football was in Cincinnati. I think it was in week 10 of 2014. And we pretty much dismantled you guys in that game. So
yeah.
So but sorry to remind you of that.
It's okay.
But we're both coming off losses. Although both of our teams' loss was a little bit different. Yours was, on a last-second missed field goal against the Chargers because your kicker, I forget his name off the top of my head.
Randy Bullock.
Thank you. Randy Bullock got injured, so he completely shanked the kick. Whereas with us, I don't even know if we got off the plane when we landed in Baltimore because it sure didn't look like it. Because that performance on Sunday was atrocious, pathetic, horrible, terrible, whatever word you want to use whatever type of word like that you want to throw in. Yeah, my friend Austin is watching, and he has a question. Rank the AFC North quarterbacks.
That's funny.
All right.
Man, are you taking it first or am I going?
You can take it.
All right. So obviously, to me, I'm going to go number one, Lamar Jackson. I know a lot of people will think that, maybe he's not going to play the way he did last season and progress. But number one, going Lamar Jackson. Number two, got to go Big Ben. I think Big Ben is definitely a great quarterback, and he looks in great shape. He looked great last night. I know he's excited to be back, and he's a workhorse. Number 3, I'll go Baker Mayfield because of the fact that Joe Burrow has only played one game in the NFL, and it's really hard to tell. And then obviously number 4, Joe Burrow. So
yeah. So for the most part, I'm the same. The only thing I would flip is I would put Ben Roethlisberger number 1 and Lamar Jackson number 2, purely because Ben has been in the league longer and he has more experience. Plus, the Steelers have been to, I think, 3 or 4 Super Bowls with him as their quarterback, something like that. So purely on experience, I'm putting Ben at number 1, Lamar Jackson 2, Baker Mayfield at 3, and Joe Burrow at 4. But let's talk about specifically Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield. So they were both the number 1 overall pick in their respective drafts. They were both Heisman Trophy winners. Obviously, Joe Burrow was Heisman Trophy winner after an amazing, amazing run by LSU to the national championship. And Baker Mayfield won the Heisman Trophy after a decent season for Oklahoma. But as of right now, Baker Mayfield has not lived up to the hype of being the number 1 overall pick. And we can't say that whether Joe Burrow has lived up to the hype or not of being the number 1 overall pick because he's only played one game. But what are your thoughts on Baker Mayfield? Do you think the Browns made a mistake picking him as the number 1 pick in the 2018 draft? Or
it's tough because honestly, I like Baker Mayfield. I like his passion. I like the way he plays the game. And honestly, he in college kind of reminded me of like a smaller Johnny Manziel. I'm also an A&M fan, so Johnny Manziel is the GOAT. Anyways, so I kind of see a little bit of Johnny when I watched Baker Mayfield at OU. But I don't quite think that Baker Mayfield has made that mark in the NFL that a lot of people were expecting him to make. So I really think this year's big for him because I think if he has another mediocre season, that it's really tough to say, if he has another mediocre season, do you go back on and say, can he ever get over that hump and become that number 1 draft pick and that Heisman winner that we see at OU? Or, is he always just going to be, in the middle of the pack, semi-great season, nothing over the top, crazy. So for me, I think Baker Mayfield has room to improve and can with the weapons around him. He just has to learn how to utilize them, but I've yet to see it.
Yeah. You talk about all that and you make some great points. For me, I've watched a lot of Baker Mayfield as he is my quarterback. And as of right now, if I'm being honest, no, I don't think the Browns made the right choice drafting him number 1 overall. Because if you think about it, in past drafts, we could have had Carson Wentz. But no, we decided to trade that pick to the Eagles. And he hasn't quite lived up to the expectations in Philly, but he's played well. Then the next draft, we could have maybe taken Mitchell Trubisky, although he hasn't quite worked out for Chicago. I still don't know what the Bears were thinking moving up 1 spot. But then we could have been in position to take Deshaun Watson. No, we traded that pick to Houston and let them get Deshaun. And then I guess we wanted to take Mahomes, and somehow Kansas City knew that, so they traded up. And we got another question. We have 2 questions, actually. Which player on the Browns do you think will grow the most this season? I've got to say that one's Nick Chubb. Do you think I want to get your take on that because you're a Bengals fan, so I'm sure you've seen a fair amount of Browns games.
Oh, yeah.
So what's your take on that?
Yeah, honestly, I'd have to agree with you on the Nick Chubb. I think he's a phenomenal running back. I think he I think you guys have a very dynamic, running back duo that a lot of teams can't potentially say they have. They just have that number one guy. But for me, the Browns have two really solid guys, and I do think Nick Chubb, after last season, I really think that he can truly improve and, prove that he's a number one running back.
All right. Wow, we actually agree. But it's going to be interesting because I think you guys are going to want to come out and throw the ball more because I get it, you have Joe Mixon, but from what I've seen of the Bengals from last season to this season, granted this season is still very young and you're a very different team from last year. I get that. But from what I've seen of like Zach Taylor's offense in Cincinnati, it seems like you guys are more of a quick pass team. So that could be difficult for our pass rush because, we have guys like Olivier Vernon, Sheldon Richardson, Myles Garrett, who are good at getting after the quarterback. But if Joe Burrow is just sitting back there flinging it like right when he gets the ball after the snap, that could be difficult.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. That is one thing that I'm actually glad that we played the Chargers week 1 because you bring in a guy like Joey Bosa who is after Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow felt the pressure the entire game. Bobby Hart could not block him, could not do anything against him. So Joe Burrow got a sense of that pressure. He got it all day. And so coming into a game with you guys, Myles Garrett, love him to death, played him in high school football, great guy, met him at A&M as well. He is a absolute beast. I will say that, and he's my favorite player definitely to watch just because of the backstory with him. And I think he is going to be trying to get to Joe Burrow every play, and he's a monster. So we're going to have to get quick passes out, across the middle, whatever, to the sidelines. Giovanni Bernard, Joe Mixon, and it's going to run the ball against you guys too. So it's definitely going to be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, you talked about throwing to the running backs. I think that's going to be a big part of your game plan because I think the Browns are going to load up on A.J. Green because, he's the all-star wide receiver, maybe superstar. Not quite sure about that. He could be a superstar, but maybe he's not quite there. I don't know what your feelings are about that. But, you talked about the running backs. I think we're going to have to watch out for the passes out of the backfield to guys like Joe Mixon and Giovanni Bernard, like you mentioned. And Baltimore was just able to do essentially whatever they wanted in terms of, like, their running backs with, like, J.K. Dobbins getting 2 touchdowns on the ground. But it's going to be an interesting matchup. And my friend Sean says they run a West Coast system, 3-step drop, short developing routes. And that's kind of what you were talking about. Seems like we're having some technical difficulties, but we're going to keep going anyway. So this is a very interesting matchup, like we were saying. It's going to be I'm looking forward to the game. So there was a question by my friend Zach Chaperon on here. Or I think it was Zach. Hold on. Oh, no. I'm sorry, Austin.
Yeah. And I just keep getting kicked. It
looks like you're on here twice.
Oh, let me see. I see where it's at. Man, I don't know what's going on with all the.
Having a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're working it out.
Yeah, I'm trying to log out here if I can, and then just see what's at. Man. Ooh.
But my friend Zach asked me a question, which is, how long is Odell's leash? I would say it's not that long. He really has not produced all right. Look, you're in the wait. Like I said, we're just having a little bit of technical difficulties tonight. You there, Jazzy?
All right, let's see. Am I still on there twice?
Yeah.
Man. Let me see something. Trying to fix it. But you can definitely still see me, correct?
Yes. Yeah, we can.
Okay. So I just can't see you.
Okay.
So maybe this will work.
Whatever.
So I would just go with it because, yeah.
Whatever.
If you can see me, then that works.
Yeah. And seems like the audio's working perfectly. I think we're good.
Okay.
Sorry, everyone, that we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're working through it. Just like these two offenses, they're both having technical difficulties.
Yes.
Hey, it ties perfectly into the game. Good job.
We just wanted to make it dramatic.
Yes, that's all we wanted to do is make it dramatic. Exactly. So where were we? Oh yeah. So we got a question. Is the issue Baker or is it the offensive scheme / coaching? I would say it's a little bit of both because Baker played well as a quarterback at Oklahoma. Although lately Lincoln Riley has just been producing good quarterbacks out of Oklahoma left and right. So I don't know if there's a whole lot you can put of stock that you can put into that. Do you see it that same way, or do you see it a little bit differently?
You said, do you put the blame on Baker? Is that what they asked?
Yeah, he's asking, do you put the blame on Baker, or is it something offensive scheme coaching related? I'm saying it's more Baker. What's your take?
That's what I think as well. I think the coaching staff knows what they want to do, and they know what they can get out of Baker, and I think that they just, for some reason, it's not clicking together, and I think that's the biggest issue. And so, yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that one.
Okay. And then my friend Zach wants to know, how long do you think Odell's leash is? I think it's short.
I think it could be short. I think it is short. I mean, it's tough because you bring in a guy like Odell, and I honestly you just haven't seen that flash factor, that factor that you saw in New York. I just feel like we haven't really gotten that full glimpse of him in that setting yet.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of the same way when you guys drafted John Ross in a little bit. I'm not saying John Ross is a superstar like Odell. What I'm saying is that you guys drafted him to be that like receiver on the opposite side of AJ Green to be the receiver to take the top off the defense. And yeah, injuries have plagued him a little bit, but at the same time, he hasn't quite done that yet. Do you see it that same way, or do you see it a little bit differently?
Yeah, no, I see it the same way. I've been waiting for John Ross to really take off, and he's had his good games, but he's not quite potentially shown us what exactly he did in the combine and what he could be.
So my friend Sean wanted to get in on the whole Baker Mayfield conversation, and he says, remember, Favre was in Atlanta at first, I think. Baker needs a change of scenery. That's a valid point. And the other thing is, he's had like 4 head coaches in his 3 years. So that's not going to help either. But I think part of the reason the Browns have changed head coaches during his time as the starting quarterback is because they haven't been able to get out of him what they saw on film at OU. So they liked what they saw with Freddie Kitchens as offensive coordinator. So they're like, okay, we're going to make him head coach. Clearly, he didn't fit. So now they brought in Kevin Stefanski. And coincidentally enough, our offensive coordinator was your quarterback's coach from last year.
Yeah. I mean, it's different. I mean, it is different. I'll be honest. But, I think that he has a good opportunity to work with Baker Mayfield. But I do agree, though. I mean, I would be very curious, a change of scenery and team for Baker Mayfield. What kind of player would he be? That's a big if, it really kind of makes you wonder.
Right. Like, I'm beginning to think, like, Cleveland is the place where quarterbacks go to die. Because, like, Trent Dilfer, he did well in Baltimore as the quarterback, comes to Cleveland, does nothing. Or Brady Quinn, yeah, he's going to be really good. Nope. Colt McCoy, he's going to be the franchise quarterback. Nope. Jake Delhomme, he's going to be the quarterback that saves the Cleveland Browns. Nope. It's just horrendous. Sometimes I honestly wonder why I'm still a Browns fan. I actually wonder that. I wonder that. I'm like, why do I put myself through this misery? Like, should I just jump ship and join a different AFC team? I've questioned that, and to this day, I continue to question it.
It's fair enough.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of Bengals fans out there that have pretty much given up on the team, after the longest playoff drought, playoff win drought in the NFL in the NFL right now that we're holding on to. And like just a lot of them have really just jumped ship as well, or maybe they don't watch as much, or they're just super negative about us. And for me, it's always been like, am I like completely happy and satisfied with what the Bengals have done my life growing up? No. But I can't change that. I'm a fan, not a player, not a coach, nothing like that.
Right.
So my thing is to always try to stay positive. Like you can always, turn a negative into a positive, and I try to just stay as positive as I can, even though that, close games like last, on Sunday just really get me going. But I try to stay positive because you never know when that day is going to come.
Right. Like your Dallas Stars, they haven't been to the Stanley Cup final since 2000. They haven't won the cup since 1999. But look at where they are now. They're in the Stanley Cup final, and you've stuck around with them. Like, you just don't know. Maybe in 5 or 6 years, we'll be like, oh, wow, the Bengals are hoisting the Lombardi trophy. What What is this concept? Okay, maybe that's a little bit unrealistic, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I definitely get it. And I mean, I think it goes to show that literally anything can happen. You know, you just never know.
Right. But it's going to be an interesting game on Thursday. But I think the key matchup for me is it's the quick passing game of the Bengals against our cornerbacks and safeties. Are they going to be able to get off the? Are they going to be able to stay with your receivers long enough? Because I feel like Joe Burrow is good at extending plays. Maybe not to the extent that like Ben Roethlisberger is, but he can extend plays. So can we stay on AJ Green long enough? Can we stay on Joe Mixon if he comes out of the backfield? You know, that's the question for me that I want to know. What's the question for you that you want answered on Thursday?
The question for me is definitely our offensive line and the defensive line of the Browns. Will we be able to give Joe Burrow enough time to not only throw these short passes, but obviously if Joe Burrow is throwing these short passes or the little screen passes the whole first half, well, the Browns are going to adjust and start shutting that down and force him to throw deep down the field. So for me are we going to give him time to be able to extend plays, to be able to throw the ball deep to where we can make big plays and not just 5 yards here, 6 yards here, 3 yards here, 2 yards here, and, you know, make it a little bit faster paced game. So that's the big question for me is our offensive line. I'm a little nervous to see where we stand when you got guys like Myles Garrett on the other side coming after your number 1 draft pick.
Yeah, but for me, I guess on the other side of the ball, I don't know anything really about the Bengals defense. So I just want to know, what type of defense are you? Like, do you guys play man? Do you guys play zone? Like, I don't know, because like they didn't show the Bengals game here in Cleveland on Sunday. So I only got to see like little snippets of it through NFL Red Zone. So I don't know what type of team you guys are. But from what I did see, you know, that's where I got the whole idea of you guys utilizing the quick passing game on offense. But I didn't really see much of what you guys do on defense. So, like, that's what I want to know on Thursday. Like, what style of defense do you play? Are you a man?
Yeah.
Do you play man-to-man? Do you play like some sort of zone scheme? Do you like leave your cornerbacks on an island? Do you blitz a lot? Or do you just say, you know, we're going to let our defensive line try and get after the quarterback? Like, I don't know what type of defense you are.
Yeah, I think that's what's tough to read about us is I think with Lou Anarumo as our defensive coordinator, he's a veteran in the game, and I feel like he's throwing a lot of different formations, especially after last year and just kind of the defense not playing up to par. That this year we are throwing a lot of zone, and then we're throwing some nickel, and then we're throwing some man-to-man. And because I believe we have guys where we can play man-to-man. We've got William Jackson III on the outside as corner. We got Jesse Bates over the top that can help for the man coverage. And then you got guys like DJ Reader, Carlos Dunlap, Sam Hubbard that can rush the quarterback. I think for us, the linebacking core in the middle of the field has always been a huge weakness for us. And that's where I think that we're going to lack. You know, I think that at times we do blitz the linebackers, but it hurts us because it's not a run play or we can't quite get to the quarterback quick enough. So I think overall you're going to see a lot of man, but I think you're also going to see a lot of zone or a lot of man with safety help because you got guys like Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. that we don't want to play too aggressive because they can burn us deep.
I haven't really seen that too much with Odell and Baker, so I can't validate you on that one. I can validate you for that one on Baker and Jarvis, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but I haven't really seen enough of the connection between Baker and Odell to say, yeah, we can burn you deep with those two.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm going to say, surprisingly, the Browns, despite getting absolutely torn to shreds by the Ravens, are a 5.5-point favorite to win this game. And I think I saw that according to the FPI, we have a 65% chance to win this game. And I just looked at both of those things. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Did you not see what we looked like on Sunday? Were the Ravens even playing against another team? So, yes, I'm a Browns fan, but I'm an objective Browns fan. If I don't think the Browns are going to win, I'm not going to pick them. And right now, how can I say the Browns are going to win? Even against a team like the Bengals. How can I say they're going to win after what I saw on the field? After what I saw on the field Sunday. But for some reason, despite all I just said, being that it's our home opener, somehow I think we're going to pull one out of our ass. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm going to say it won't be a blowout. I think it's going to be a little bit of a shootout, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I expect that with these two offenses, that it's going to be a shootout. Do you see it that same way?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't see either team blowing the other one out. I think that it's going to be a pretty tight game. I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter, who wants it more.
Yeah, but do you expect it to be an AFC North style, like defensive low-scoring battle, or do you think it's going to be like the prototypical NFL now, where it's high-scoring, lots of points?
I think I'm kind of in the middle. I think that we're going to see some great defensive playing and some, possibly some turnovers from both teams. And but I also can see us both teams scoring a lot because the defenses, aren't like terrible, but after last week, there's a lot of holes in the defense for both teams. That what defense is going to show up this game?
Right. Now, for us, I think the Browns get a little bit of a break because they were opening against like one of the top teams in the AFC on the road with a new coaching staff. They didn't have any preseason games to really work out the kinks in the offense. I'm not making excuses for the Browns and their performance on Sunday by any means. So I don't want you to interpret what I'm saying as excuses. But I'm just saying maybe we should cut the Browns a little bit of slack. Just a little bit, but not. But if you lose to the Bengals, no, I'm not cutting you any slack. No. Because we're both the bottom dwellers of this division. For the most part. Although somehow you guys have won the division in the past few years, whereas we've just been like, hi, we're the basement team. We're the Browns because we're poop or we're shit. Whatever.
Yeah, I definitely think that we are. Everybody looks at our division and they look at us, both of our teams, and they definitely look at bottom of the division, not making playoffs, third and fourth seed. I definitely think we're looked on like that.
Yeah, it sucks, but the only way either one of our teams are going to change that perspective is by going out and winning games. If you can't do that, you're not going to change the perspective.
Yeah, I totally agree.
But what's the wide receiver cornerback matchup that you're most excited for in this game?
I think I'm pretty stoked to see the William Jackson III and Jarvis Landry or William Jackson III and Odell Beckham Jr. I'm not sure exactly who he'll be matched up with more, but I'm a big fan of William Jackson III, and honestly, I think he's a great player, and I think whoever he's matched up with, I think it's going to be very physical, and I think it's just going to be, kind of like in your face type, but, nothing where either of them are getting penalties, being dumb, but I think it's going to be like, hey, let's see what you got and let's see what I got, and hey, if you're going to make a catch on me, I'm going to make you work for it, and vice versa. If you're going to guard me, I'm going to make you work for it.
Yeah. I think for me, I think Denzel Ward is going to be healthy for this game. I haven't seen the injury report, but if he's healthy and out there, it's got to be AJ Green against Denzel Ward. But because AJ Green, like I said earlier, I wouldn't say he's a superstar, but he's not a scrub either. I would put him in the all-star category.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
Yeah, no, it's fair. It's fair.
Okay. Yeah, so I like watching AJ Green. He's a receiver that can go up and get it, but he also has some wheels on him that I've seen as well. So, that could be an interesting matchup if Denzel Ward is healthy. If he's not, I don't really know any of the other receivers for the Bengals besides besides John Ross, if I'm being honest. Didn't you guys just drafted another receiver from Clemson, didn't you?
Yeah, T. Higgins.
That's what I thought. So I'm going to say he's the X factor for the Bengals in this game, actually. I don't know why. I just think, the Browns are probably watching film of AJ Green and John Ross primarily, so they might not notice T. Higgins. So that's why I'm saying he's my X factor. Who's your X factor?
My X factor is I'm just kidding. David Njoku's hurt, so my X factor with him being on the IR, which is a tough loss for you guys. I'm a big fan of David Njoku. I think it's Austin Hooper. I think Austin Hooper didn't have the greatest game the first game, but Baker loves to throw to tight ends, and I think, like I said, a weakness for us is the middle of the field. So I think an X factor for you guys is Austin Hooper. I think that this could potentially be a really good game for him.
Okay. So this has been a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. So got like 2 more things to do before we go. Number 1, score predictions. So are you picking your hometown? I can't really say hometown. Are you picking your Bengals to win?
I'm picking the Bengals to win this one. I honestly have a lot of confidence, and it might be a Stars hangover from last night, but
I love it.
But I have a lot of confidence. Honestly, like you said, I know the Browns play the Ravens, and that's a tough week 1 matchup. But there's injuries on both sides, and from what I saw from highlights, I just didn't see a lot of wow factor from the Browns. So I feel like going into week 2, it's kind of like another week 1 for them. So I just don't know what to expect from them. So, yeah, I'm taking the Bengals in the game. I'm going to go 27-24 Bengals.
Oh, so still within the AFC North kind of range a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Despite all that I said earlier, I can't go against the Browns in this game. I just can't do it. It's our home opener. There's going to be 6,000 fans in the stands. I don't know how much of a difference that it will actually make versus a full stadium. But I'll say the Browns win a high-scoring game. You know what? I'm going to take a flyer. 38-31.
Wow.
High-scoring affair.
Hey. But we both have close games and shootouts, and I like that. I'm really hoping it's a good Thursday night game.
Yes. Now, the last thing we got to do before we go, we had talked about this, and we were trying to decide what to do. So since this is our first time working together, I wanted to up the stakes a little bit, just for fun. And maybe I shouldn't be putting this much stock in the Browns, but it's funny. I'm a Browns YouTuber, and yet I shit on my own team.
Hey, everybody does it differently. That's okay.
But we're trying to figure it out. Like, does the loser just have to do like the chant of the winning team? Does the loser have to go out and get something like a hat or a shirt to support the other team? Did we come to a decision on that?
I don't know. I had a couple different ideas for, like, honestly, I have something right next to me that I think that you would maybe like if you guys won. And then I also have a hat that I think that I'd give to you as well if you guys won. But I feel like this other gift right here, I feel like that would be it's pretty unique. So I think that it would be a cool gift to give to you if you guys ended up beating us, and it honestly would be awesome to see it in any of your future videos if you ever wanted to put it right behind you.
Well, let me just say, if you have a really unique gift, I'll take it regardless.
Yeah, no, I definitely would definitely give it to you, and I think it'd be cool to have for you. Yeah. I mean, I like it a lot. So
you know what? Regardless of who wins this game, you can send me something Bengals, and I'll try and find you something unique that's for the Cleveland Browns. We'll do that. And how about we just keep it simple? Like, you don't have to go out and buy anything Cleveland Browns. Like, I don't want to make you go to the mall and especially because of the pandemic. So how about if we do a post game, just that the loser has to like do a cheer for the other team. Is that cool?
Yeah, that works.
All right. We'll do it. We'll keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so good to talk to you. I'm looking forward to this game, and we'll see who comes out on top.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, and it was a great time. I'm excited for the post game. Maybe I can wear this shirt again and loud and proud, and we'll see.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again in, I think it's week 8, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, somewhere around there. It's like the middle of the pack. You might be right. Week 8, week 7, week 9, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so looking forward to working with you again. But
sounds good.
Until next time, this is Unger to the Max signing off with a salute to you. And now it's time for me to go watch some NBA playoff basketball.
Sounds good.
All right, talk to you later.
All right, see you later.